If you're over 60, there's something you need to hear. You've been told to stay active, keep your muscles strong, and never stop moving. And that's true. But what if I told you that one of the most common exercises recommended to older adults, something as simple as a squat, could silently raise your risk of a stroke while you sleep? No pain, no warning, just one small habit, done at the wrong time or in the wrong way, could change everything. Imagine this. You're standing in your kitchen, doing a few morning squats like you always do. You feel fine, but the next morning, you wake up unable to speak clearly, one side of your body weak, your mind foggy. Or worse, you don't wake up at all. This isn't fear-mongering. It's something I've seen over and over again in my patients. People just like you. People who believed they were doing the right thing. That's why I made this video. Because movement should protect you, not put your brain in harm's way. As a brain doctor, I've seen strokes happen in the most unexpected ways. But nothing shocks me more than how often they're triggered by something as ordinary as a squat. Not just any squat, but a deep squat. You've probably been told that squats keep your legs strong, help prevent falls, and maintain independence. And they can, when done right. But squatting too deep, when your hips drop below your knees, can silently spike your blood pressure in ways that your aging arteries may not tolerate. Let me tell you about Richard. He's 78, a retired firefighter, tough as nails. Every morning, just after getting out of bed, Richard did 10 deep squats, arms crossed, thighs parallel to the floor. He thought he was staying strong. But one morning, his wife found him slumped in a chair. His speech was garbled. He couldn't lift his right hand. It was a stroke. And the likely trigger? That deep squat routine he thought was protecting him. Here's what happens. Deep squats compress your chest and abdomen. That forces blood upward, increasing pressure inside your body, fast. For someone with stiff arteries, like most of us after 60, that sudden surge can knock a blood clot loose. Instead of building strength, Richard's squats lit the fuse. So what's the better way? Instead of pushing too deep, aim for partial squats. Stop when your hips are level with your knees. Use a sturdy chair or kitchen counter for balance. And most importantly, breathe. Don't hold your breath. Remember, the goal isn't to look young. The goal is to stay safe and sharp. Because strength means nothing if your brain is starving for oxygen. What's the first thing you do when you wake up? Sit up in bed, stretch, maybe head to the bathroom. And if you're trying to stay fit, you might add a few squats to start your day strong. But what if I told you that might be the most dangerous moment to do it? Let me introduce you to Marie, a 72-year-old retired nurse from Indiana. She was sharp, determined, and disciplined. Every morning before breakfast, she did 5 deep squats right after getting out of bed. She said it helped her wake up her body. One morning, her son found her collapsed on the bedroom floor. She was conscious, but couldn't speak. Her leg wouldn't move. The MRI showed a clot had blocked blood flow to her brain. A textbook ischemic stroke. Here's what most people don't realize. During sleep, your body becomes slightly dehydrated. Your blood thickens, and your blood pressure dips. But the moment you wake up, pressure surges. Your heart kicks in fast. Add squats on top of that, especially deep or fast ones, and you shock your system when it's least ready. Instead of easing into the day, Marie pushed her body too hard, too soon. Her brain couldn't adapt in time. So what's the smarter move? Instead of squatting right away, start slow. Sit up. Drink a glass of water. Give your body 5 minutes to adjust. Stretch gently. Walk a little. Then, if you feel steady, move into supported squats later. After breakfast is even better. Think of your body like a car on a cold morning. You don't floor the gas right after ignition. You let it warm up first. Your brain needs the same care. Are you taking medication for blood pressure? Maybe a diuretic? A water pill to reduce swelling or keep your heart healthy? If so, you're like millions of older adults doing everything right. But here's the catch. Mixing these medications with certain movements, like squats, can create a silent danger for your brain. Let me tell you about Jimmy Holbrook. He's 75, a retired mechanic from Michigan. Jimmy took a low dose of lisinopril and a water pill called hydrochlorothiazide. Every evening, before dinner, he'd go to the garage and do 10 slow squats, holding onto a chair. He thought it kept him limber for fishing season. But one night, right after standing from his last squat, he turned and collapsed. His wife heard the thud. By the time she reached him, he was unresponsive. His right hand curled in, eyes open, but distant. It was a stroke, not from a clot that formed randomly, but from his blood pressure crashing too far, too fast. Here's why that happens. Water pills reduce fluid in your body. Blood pressure meds lower the force of your circulation. That combination makes your system more fragile. When you squat, blood pools in your legs. Then, if you stand too quickly, blood flow to the brain drops. Your heart can't catch up. And in that moment of low flow, the brain triggers clotting to protect itself. Only sometimes. That clot doesn't dissolve. It lodges. Instead of helping your heart, the squat pushes it beyond its limit. So, what's the safer choice? If you're on these medications, avoid squatting right after sitting or taking pills. Don't push through fatigue. Hydrate well, especially in the morning and evening when meds peak. Use support. Rise slowly. And most importantly, talk to your doctor about how your exercise routine fits with your medications, because what helps your heart can still harm your brain if you're not paying attention. Have you ever caught yourself holding your breath during a squat? Maybe without even realizing it? That little pause, just a few seconds of bracing, might feel harmless. But for older adults, especially over 60, it can be the moment everything goes wrong. Let me introduce you to Clifford Barnes, a 79-year-old retired electrician from Washington. A quiet man with a big heart. He kept active, tended his garden, and did 6 bodyweight squats every other morning using a foldable squat bar his daughter had bought him. It gave him a sense of control. One morning, Clifford stood from his last squat and collapsed. At the hospital, scans revealed a left-sided ischemic stroke caused by a clot that had likely dislodged during the movement. The doctor noticed something else, too. Clifford had a habit of holding his breath while standing up from the squat. He didn't know. Most people don't. Here's what actually happens. When you hold your breath and strain during a movement like squatting, your chest pressure skyrockets. This is called the Valsalva maneuver. It compresses your heart, reduces blood flow back into it, and temporarily lowers your blood pressure. But the moment you release the breath, your blood pressure rebounds, and fast. For younger athletes, that's a technique. For older adults, it's a risk. Instead of stabilizing the body, it throws the brain into a pressure storm. And if you have stiff arteries or hidden plaque, that surge can knock a clot loose and send it straight to your brain. So what's the better habit? Instead of holding your breath, breathe in on the way down. Exhale as you stand up. Keep your core engaged, but don't brace so hard that you block your airflow. Think of breathing as your brain's protection plan. Because every breath you hold is a moment your brain could be fighting for oxygen. And that's a risk you don't need to take. There's something admirable about staying disciplined, about showing up every day for your body. But what if the very thing you do to stay strong is quietly breaking you down? Let me tell you about Margaret Kane. She's 82, a retired school teacher from Iowa. Margaret was sharp, organized, and proud. She kept a handwritten exercise log. She started with 5 squats a day, then 10, then 20. Within 3 months, she was doing 50 deep squats every morning, without fail. One evening after her walk, she felt lightheaded. Her speech slurred. She reached for the countertop, but missed. Her daughter found her confused, struggling to say even the simplest words. It was a mini-stroke, a transient ischemic attack. And the cause? Overtraining. Yes, even bodyweight squats can overwhelm the brain when done without enough rest. Here's what most people forget. As we age, our recovery systems slow down. Muscles repair slower. Arteries stiffen. The nervous system stays in a state of quiet stress when pushed too hard, too often. That leads to high cortisol, thicker blood, and the perfect storm for microclots to form. Instead of giving her body time to rebuild, Margaret's routine wore it down. So what should you do instead? Limit your squats to 2 or 3 sets per day. Rest between sets. Take full rest days. If you feel fatigued, dizzy, or foggy, don't push through. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. Remember, strength isn't about doing more. It's about doing enough and giving your brain the chance to stay safe and sharp. Let's take a moment to pause. We've just covered 5 of the most common but hidden squat mistakes I see in people over 60. Deep squats, squatting right after waking, mixing squats with medication, holding your breath, pushing too hard, too often. Each one may seem small on its own, but together, they create the perfect storm for stroke, brain bleeds, or sudden loss of mobility. Now, take a breath and ask yourself, have you made any of these mistakes? Even once? Don't feel guilty. You were trying to do the right thing, but now you know better. And when we know better, we do better. So here's what I'd like you to do. In the comments below, type the number of any mistake you've caught yourself doing. 1 to 5. Whether it's once a week or every morning, this is a safe space. No shame, just awareness. Because by sharing, you're not just helping yourself. You're helping someone else who thought they were alone. And don't go anywhere, because the next mistakes are just as dangerous. In fact, one of them could be right under your feet. Literally. Do you ever do your squats in the kitchen? Maybe by the sink or near your favorite chair. Feels like a safe place, right? But what if I told you the most dangerous part of your squat isn't how you move, but where you're standing? Let me share the story of Thomas Reynolds. He's 74, a widower, and a retired postal worker from Delaware. Every morning, like clockwork, Thomas did 5 squats in his kitchen, right after feeding his cat. One rainy morning, his cat had knocked over the water bowl, just a small trail of moisture on the linoleum floor. Thomas didn't notice. On his 3rd squat, as he rose, his foot slipped. He twisted, trying to catch himself, and struck his head on the edge of the stove. He stayed conscious, but something was wrong. His vision blurred. His arm tingled, and within an hour he was in the ER with a subdural hematoma, bleeding around his brain. It wasn't just the fall. It was the shock, the jolt to his nervous system, the sudden spike in pressure that shook loose a small clot already sitting near a vessel. That's all it took. Here's the thing. As we age, our balance, reflexes, and proprioception, the body's sense of position, all decline. Add in smooth tile, socks, or an uneven rug, and one bad step turns into a medical crisis. So what should you do instead? Ditch the socks. Wear non-slip shoes or go barefoot. Place a non-skid mat where you squat. Always stay near something sturdy, like a counter or handrail, and never, ever rush the movement. Because in this stage of life, safety isn't optional. It's the foundation that keeps you independent. We've all heard it. Don't let a little cold stop you. Push through. Be tough. But at our age, that old-school mindset can do more harm than good, especially when your body is already fighting something inside. Let me tell you about Dolores Martinez. She's 76, a grandmother from San Antonio, and a retired nurse. Dolores was the kind who never missed a day. One morning, she woke up feeling off, dry mouth, a dull headache, just a little tired. Probably just allergies, she thought. She skipped breakfast, took her usual medications, and then, like always, she did 10 deep squats in her living room. By lunch, her daughter found her on the floor, confused, slurring, her left arm limp. It was a stroke, brought on by a mix of dehydration, mild illness, and the physical stress of those squats. Here's what happens. When you're sick or tired, your body is already inflamed. Your blood is thicker. Your vessels are under strain. Add squatting into the mix, where you're compressing your abdomen, shifting pressure, and it becomes too much. A tiny clot forms, or moves, and the brain loses oxygen before you ever realize something's wrong. So, what's the wiser path? Instead of pushing through a bad day, pause. Drink water. Eat something small. Rest. If you're dizzy, drained, or even mildly unwell, skip the squats. Walk gently. Stretch. Or just breathe. Because strength, at this stage of life, isn't about doing it all. It's about knowing when to stop, when to listen, when to protect the body that's carried you this far. Do you ever do a few squats before bed? Maybe to loosen up, ease stiff legs, or help with sleep. On the surface, it sounds like a good idea. But what if that quiet bedtime routine is quietly raising your stroke risk overnight? Let me tell you about William Foster, a 77-year-old retired bus driver from Ohio. William had read online that light squats before bed could reduce leg cramps. So, every evening, right after brushing his teeth, he did 10 slow squats beside the bed. No weights, no rush, just movement. The next morning, he didn't come down for breakfast. His wife found him lying in bed, eyes open but unfocused. His speech slurred, his left arm limp. A stroke had struck in the early morning hours, when the brain is most vulnerable. So what happened? When we sleep, our blood pressure naturally dips, a healthy thing. But squatting too close to bedtime raises internal pressure. It sends the heart and brain into high gear, just before the body's supposed to slow down. That mismatch, pressure up, then suddenly down, can trigger clots, or dislodge one already forming. Instead of calming his system, William's late-night squats stirred the storm. So what should you do instead? If you want to move before bed, try gentle stretches, deep breathing, or a warm bath. And if you do squat, give your body at least an hour to settle before lying down. Think of it like letting a snow globe rest after shaking it. Give everything time to clear and calm, because protecting your brain isn't just about what you do, but when you do it. You've seen younger folks on YouTube drop into deep squats, hips nearly touching the floor. And you may have asked yourself, if they can do it, why can't I? But here's the truth. As we age, the rules change. What once made you stronger can now quietly put your brain at risk. Meet Harold Green. He's 73, a retired Army medic from Georgia. Strong-willed, disciplined, inspired by a fitness blog, Harold added deep squats to his morning routine. 15 every day after his walk. Hips below the knees. No shortcuts. Then one evening, he struggled to grip a glass. His words got tangled. A lacunar stroke had hit, caused by a tiny clot blocking a small vessel deep inside his brain. Why? Because deep squats put intense pressure on the chest and abdomen. That compresses your blood vessels. It spikes blood pressure quickly, especially when combined with breath holding. And if your arteries are stiff, like many over 60, that spike is like shaking a tree full of loose branches. Something breaks free. Harold didn't know his arteries had mild plaque. Most seniors don't. But that deep strain, day after day, was the final push. So, what should you do instead? Swap deep squats for partial chair squats. Stop when your thighs are level with your knees. Use a rail or counter. Focus on breathing smoothly. You still engage your muscles, but you protect your brain. Because at this age, going deeper doesn't mean going better. It means going riskier. And the real strength? It comes from knowing your limits and choosing safety over ego. After everything we've covered, after the stories, the science, and the warnings, you might be wondering, should I stop squatting altogether? Absolutely not. Movement is life. Especially after 60, your body depends on circulation, on oxygen, on the rhythm of daily motion. But you don't need to move harder. You need to move smarter. Let me introduce you to Lucille Harmon. She's 79, a retired piano teacher from Oregon. After experiencing a mini-stroke from overdoing her morning routine, she made a shift, not to less movement, but to wiser movement. Now, Lucille does shallow chair squats twice a week. She stretches in sunlight. She hydrates before moving. She takes rest days. She listens to her body. And she's sharper than ever. So what should you do? First, never squat right after waking or before bed. These are the times your brain is most vulnerable. Wait until mid-morning or early afternoon, when your body is alert and hydrated. Second, do partial or supported squats. Use a chair. Keep your hips above your knees. Focus on balance, not depth. Third, breathe. Exhale as you stand. Inhale as you lower. No bracing, no breath holding. Fourth, hydrate. Before and after movement. Water keeps your blood flowing and your brain protected. And finally, rest. Yes, rest. It's not laziness. It's recovery. It's when your body repairs and your brain regains clarity. Because instead of proving strength by pushing through, you show wisdom by adjusting. Instead of risking a clot, you build real resilience. At this age, you don't need more reps. You need better habits. That's how you stay strong. That's how you stay safe. And that's how you stay here, present, clear, and independent. So, now you know. The truth is, most seniors who get hurt aren't careless. They're doing their best, following advice, trying to stay strong, just like you. But sometimes, we're not told that the rules change with age, that what worked at 40 might be risky at 70, that a simple habit like squatting, done the wrong way at the wrong time, can turn from helpful to harmful. Now you have the knowledge, the tools, the stories that stick. So let me ask you this. What's one thing you'll change today? One habit you'll rethink? One mistake you'll correct? Type it in the comments. Not just for you, but for the next person who reads it and realizes they're not alone. If you found this video helpful, please hit like. Subscribe for more insights like this. And share this with someone you care about. Because this message, this warning, might just protect someone's future. Remember, your brain matters. Your independence matters. And every decision you make today shapes the life you will have tomorrow.